Ladies and gentlemen, we are picking up where we left off. We are in episode 3 of our survival mode challenge. We are trying to get to 62 correct answers. We already have 46. Each row there is 12, I believe. So we have fallen short a little bit. We've missed 2. So 46 out of 48 here. Now this puzzle is one that we started looking at the end of the last video. Really only 2 ideas come to mind. We are down a rook, so we either need to pick up the queen, unlikely, or we can use all these pieces that can attack a king. So, jumping right into it, I think the first thing you want to look at is checks, then captures. So let's look at the check. And it looks like the king can run away, and then if we take the knight, we lose our own knight. And this doesn't look too good for black because the king is covered on, once it's in the corner, it's covered on the file. It's covered on the diagonal by the pawn. And then the rook does a really good job of guarding the back rank. So I don't see any further attack. And then the queen can attack the king here. So I know we talked in the last 2 videos actually about covering escape squares. There was a puzzle where the king was here, and there was a rook here. Sorry, there. And we went knight check, and the king went here, and we went check. And we picked it up, and it looked like a fork. But the theme of that puzzle was that the king could run away and hide in the corner. And so when we played knight check, we were preventing that by covering this square. So I really, really, really think that the answer to this is going to be the queen because it cuts off this escape square. In general, if you're checking the king and hunting the king, you want the king to come toward you and something like that, where you can use your other stuff to checkmate him. You don't want him running into cover. So I do think it's going to be this because this comes with the benefit of mate here. Notice it's covered by the knight. So I would assume, based on that, that if black or white moves the king, we go, let's say here, then we go check, and they go here, and then we go check. And then they would go, I guess, here. And this knight is dead. So can we just come back here, check? I mean, it's starting to look like that's a possibility. I mean, a bunch of checks in a row has got to be a mate somehow. So we're probably just going to go ahead and take this knight. I have to figure out what happens if queen takes. We probably, again, for the same reason, don't want to go this way because that just runs into like check or check. Probably not that one, but you know. Oh, and there's also this check here. So yeah, we probably do want to use what white's trying to do by hiding our own king behind our stuff. And I think that's going to be the answer. I mean, that's typically what you want to try to do. Okay, that's just hangs the rook. I don't understand why computers do this kind of thing. Like, give me the hard problem of this and this. So I'm assuming I'm just going to take it, right? Oh. If I go here, it's check here. I underestimated this try. No, that's fine. Because just king here is fine. And then if queen check, then here. And there aren't any more checks, right? After that, yeah, just take this. Yeah, I think I can go here. But what's wrong with bishop? So is it king f6 or is it bishop blocking? I would think it'd be king f6 in this case. Because then there's not really any more checks. You can check me with the queen, but then I can just go here. And then there's no more checks or anything. And you have to defend 2 different mates. This is mate, because if the rook blocks, we can go here or here. And that's fine. Yeah, so check, rook, and then queen in the corner is mate. This is covered. This is pinned. Or also this is mate. So pretty sure this is okay. That was my original intention. There's no way for the queen to check except here and then here. And then is there anything else that they can do? Oof. King f6, queen here. Loses a queen. Typically losing a queen is bad. So I think we're going to block with the bishop instead. Yeah, we should probably look at that one. I actually don't see a defense to losing my queen if I put king f6. What if I go here? It's probably a check here is bad. And stuff starts to happen to me. So it is going to be blocked with the bishop. And then there's a check here with the queen. And then we probably go here. Now there is no skewer. Winning a queen. So let's go ahead and play that. Yay! Okay, so the mate, again, the mate idea was queen here or queen here. Either one should work. Okay, what are we looking at? We've got two pieces. We got a bit, two minor pieces for each side. A queen and two rooks. We've got a hanging piece, target here, and a hanging bishop. The queen is hanging as well, and then this is attacked once, defended once. So here's all our targets on the board. How can we line them up? These two are connected on a diagonal, so we could put a queen here and force the trade. We can go here, here, of course, and then hit that somehow with like this. So these two are targets, so we're going to connect those with a line, connect these targets with a line. These were the targets. This is a line connecting targets, and then we've got some forkable squares really with like a queen here, here, here. Lots of squares for forks. Like a queen can go here, and that would fork two things, three things. So lots of stuff can happen. How do we arrive at all of these? I think we can go, there it is. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. We can hit this guy and this guy at the same time. There's the queen fork. I told you there were a lot, didn't I? A lot of queen forks. Took me a while to find that. So I don't see how that exactly pays off on account of the knight coming back. But they do have to save the rook. So let's say queen here, and they just take my rook. I can take their rook and then recover my own. So that's fine. Or we can go here, attack a rook, and what if it just moves out of the way? Hard to find fault with that. So let's also consider other ideas of attacking this queen. I think I'm going to take a moment to get my bearings here. Okay, so this is pretty confusing. I think it is a combination that has something to do with this idea. I'm thinking at the moment that it is best to trade rooks first because the bishop is held by the knight, and I just cannot figure out a way to get the knight out of the way. I would love to play like g6 or something to get the knight out of the way. I'm just not seeing it. I would love to get the bishop involved, but that just doesn't seem like something worthwhile exactly. So my idea would be something like bishop here and then rook trades, perhaps. But then it's white's turn and they can start doing pretty much anything they want, including just beefing up their own king or something. So I'm thinking it's going to be trade, fork. And then when the rook moves, it can go here, here, and these guys. So the queen can also defend the rook, I guess. So, oh, and you know what? I just realized there's bishop here guarding it, but that we could trade a rook trade off that bishop, and it does distract the knight for a turn. So there's that. But I think what we're going to do is take here, and then the rook will probably play something like here, but then we go check. King is forced to go here, and then I just can't really quite bring it home. What I would love to do is bishop check, but this is a bishop now. So it's actually controlling that square. So it doesn't really work. But I do see that we are hanging this pawn. So we're winning these two guys, and that is a substantial advantage with the king hanging loose like that. I'm not sure how the king gets out of that exactly, because then we are also hanging this pawn too. So from the top, I'm thinking it's here, 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 something like one of these two squares. I'm not sure. Check, king, check, probably like, it can't be queen back because we take a knight. And then I think it's going to probably be like king over. But then this pawn is hanging because it's attacked twice. And so that's a third pawn. We also still have a spare rook and a spare bishop to use. So I'm not really sure if that works. I think I'm going to continue to check it because I just don't like the idea of just saying, oh, the rook moves somewhere. By the way, I should point out that if the rook moves here, this actually becomes checkmate. So it's always nice to figure out at least one way to mate your opponent. I think I'm going to sit on this for a sec. Okay, I've been thinking for like almost 5 minutes here. I just don't see anything better. I don't see why this allowing this attack right away is good because I just can't take advantage of this bishop. I can't figure out a way to get rid of the knight. But I don't see a way to win a piece either. But that said, I don't see how white guards all three pawns. And I'm not seeing, like, usually I just want to win like a rook, right? And just say, aha, I'm better. But in a real game, I mean, I'm stumped. In a real game, I would take this rook, play here, and just take the fact that I'm winning a piece and checking your king and just say that's winning. I assume that in a real game, what I would do is I would take here, I take these two, probably take here, forcing a trade of queens, and just be like happy that I'm up that many pawns with most of the material gone. Probably, it shouldn't be too hard to trade the bishops because they're on the same color. So it's knight and rook against knight and rook, but extra pawns are worth it. So I'm not happy about this, but I think I'm going to just have to go with it because I just don't see anything else that's hanging. So hate to end it like this, but okay. Yeah, that's fine. All right, it has to be this, right? I mean, it has to be because there's no other hanging stuff. Oh, is it rook up? It could be rook up. No, because they discard the bishop. Like they'll just move the bishop. Well, I mean, it is close to the king though. No, that's not winning material. This wins material. This doesn't. So, okay. Now we found this like a long time ago. I'm just not sure like why exactly this is winning here. We've been beset by intruders. Okay, back to this. What happened? Oh, I got it right. I had people knocking at the door. Had to answer the door. That was it? That was the end of the puzzle? I got to look at why this is so good here. All right. So we take here, take here. Yeah, okay. The only winning move is this. Yeah, we knew that. So why does it go... What's wrong with this? Okay, I take the pawn. And the king has to play king g1. We know that. Ah, I can play rook d2 as well. Okay, yeah, I can take the pawn, yes, but I can also play rook d2. That's why the rook has to be here, because this is going to threaten... it's going to add one attack to the bishop, and then there's this, which threatens to clear the second rank. Okay, so that makes more sense. I didn't see that at all. But why? What am I supposed to... Whoops, not that. That's mate in one. We said that. Why here? King g1. What's going on? What do I do? Rook d2 works. Rook d5. Why would I play rook d5? I don't see what the point there is. Rook d5 is winning, but why? I guess because eventually I take g4. Okay. But obviously this is what we said, and this is good because of what? King h2. And now here, this is as far as I was able to get, and I just said we have 2 extra pawns, so we're winning. But the computer actually says that we are up like 4.5 pawns of material. So it's rook d2 again, his best move. Knight e3 attacking the queen. Ah, queen h4, this is the pin. The pin makes it all work. Okay, that makes sense. And then we're going to take this. So this actually puts the king in a precarious position on the g file. And then when we take this pawn, we're threatening more stuff. Ah, okay. Wow, that's intense. I guess we were right all along that the whole point of this was to just win a couple pawns and have a king that's endangered. The computer just finds that to be enough compensation. I didn't think it was, but I couldn't find anything better. So I really honestly think we got lucky there. Um, maybe not. I mean, maybe you count that, right? Because I did make the right choice. But I didn't really see why that was as winning as it was. I figured to be like a +2 instead of +4.5. All right, back to this puzzle. This looks like the typical empty castle formation. So, is this another free puzzle after an easy puzzle? I go here. You have to defend mate. It's difficult to do. You can't play rook here. I take it. The only thing, the line that I'm immediately calculating is rook check, king here, queen check, king here, rook check again, king here, queen check, and this is as far as I got so far. King up, check. All right, I don't like this line at all. So let's go check. Sorry, let's go threaten mate and then check again. And also we have to consider the other way as well. So I can play here. Oh, well, that's much easier. Let's go this way. So a tip for calculation of when you're trying to protect your own king. So I already told you that when you're hunting the other king, you want to drive it forward toward your own stuff, right? And cut off any escapes that go backward. Well, what I'm seeing is that this queen's very dangerously placed around my king. It's way on the white side of the board. It can start taking stuff. So what I do is I saw these squares coming out, and I said, this one is covered. So what I'd like to do is cover these two. How do I do that? Well, the easiest way is just king over. And now these squares are covered. And if you notice, this square is already covered by a rook. So if I go queen and check, and I go this way, these squares are covered, and this square is covered, so there aren't actually any checks available. The queen is out of checks, and that makes me feel really, really, really safe. Rook can throw itself away, we'll take it, and then there's still no check available because this is covered by the king, this is covered by the pawn, and this square is covered by the knight, which is even better. I don't even think, even if the knight weren't here, I think this wouldn't work because we pull back. And then we're still up the rook. Yes, we're not mating anymore, but we're up the rook. Actually, my queen will be here, so it's covered anyhow. Beside the point, it's covered multiple times. You only need to cover it once. It looks like this is going to be the win. So what else is there? What about other rook check? Then here. That's fine. There's no check across the rank because this pawn does a good job blocking it. It looks like everything is covered. I think I'm going to go ahead and play it. Is this the end of my run? Should I be more disciplined? No, I think we're going to throw caution to the wind. This looks so winning. I don't really see a method by which they can get out. This is the like canonical empty castle. There should be a bishop here, and there isn't a dark square bishop a black bishop on the light squares, and there isn't. So that's what you do. Any other methods by which we can lose a game? Let's go here and then rook here. Can we actually take it? Yes. Yes, we can. Because now this square is uncheckable. It's controlled. And then this square is still controlled by that knight. And these two are controlled already. So everything's fine and dandy. And if this pawn is ever pushed, I think we still slide sideways and we're okay. So let's go ahead and play it. Yes. And we said that here. And the reason I have to go to that specific square is to cover this one. So, perfect. Now we just got to bring it on home. What is attacked here? Is there a method by which I can win a queen? I would love to move this knight. And then there isn't any actually way for the queen to get out other than taking my rook or going right here. So there should be like a fork of, these are undefended. So I would love to just like get a fork here, but it doesn't quite work. So I think I didn't see this far. I am going to have to take a sec to think about this one. Well, The only move that actually looks like it does anything here is just rook c1. We already said we can't move the knight because the queen takes our rook, and then that knight isn't like helping out really. There's no checks, so there's no reason to move the king. And these bishops do nothing. So what I'm basically looking at is a mate right here, but I need help. I need a rook to go there. So you can imagine queen, rook, rook, it's mate. That led me to the idea that actually black is threatening this rook c7 idea and pushing my queen away. So I think we want to take advantage of that square, and we are going to want to threaten checkmate at the same time. It doesn't appear to me like there's any way to attack the queen or attack the rooks right away without getting help on the dark squares. So I'm going to use the rook. It's the only thing left. Yep. Okay. Now we just win a queen, right? Yeah, let's not hesitate. Yeah, okay. So it was just the mate in the back. How about here and here? Good idea. We also have a back rank check available to us. So we also have this, and then this is good. We could do both. So this bishop can actually come out and block any check right here. So we do have to be careful. We also have yet another formation, which is this back rank formation here. So we can actually try to go here, and then and then it's almost a mate. So we're going to have to probably figure out a nice method of worming the queen in there in the correct order. So what if we go check, and then this rook comes back, we take it with check, and that's pretty good. And so king here. Now, do I check with the bishop first, or do I check with the queen first? How about queen check? This queen comes back. Bishop check. This seems ineffective. So this is actually a double. This is actually two mates in one. It's two mates in one. So if I go here, they both have to be guarded. I think we get bishop out here. And how about they just take my queen? That's even better. Here, 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 here. We have a follow-up. Oh, it's this old one. That's it. The theme is going to be, I've seen this so much on the back rank, it took me a while to find it on the file, but we want to go check here, and that covers all three squares, and then it's going to be queen in, checkmate. So how does this work? I think it's here. Check. The rook or queen will be forced to block. If rook comes in, then we have check. Only legal move is king. And then we go check. And notice that the queen is still covering this square. So the king has to go back, and we go check. And the king has to come back again to this square, and then it's mate. So we know the rook can't block because it's mate. So here, queen comes back is pretty powerful. Then can we go check again? Yeah. And now this time, if you want to avoid the mate, you actually have to block with the rook and give it to me. I like that plan. The reason we can't go here right away is because this square is empty, so the king can actually just go twice. So I think that's true. Let me check. Check here. Check. And king runs away. And I don't have any more checks from anything. So yeah, we do have to block that square with a black piece. Let's go ahead and play it. Now give me a rook, right? Yeah, probably. It takes a rook with check. Yeah, okay, cool. That was pretty easy. But here. How can I guard this square? We did this one already. We did this in a previous puzzle rush. Oh man, what was the answer? Oh boy, hang on. This is the exact same puzzle we did before. And I said, I remember wanting this knight to be here. This was part of the run where we got to 62, I think. This is part of that amazing run. Hang on, what's the answer? check. And the king has to go here, right? Oh, man. I forget the answer. It's going to have to take me a second to think of it. But I've seen this one. You can actually go watch my video. I don't know if I'm even any better at this now, but okay, I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm going to pause and I'm going to try to recollect it so I don't have you guys listening to me in silence. Okay, so I solved this one pretty quickly because, like I said, we've already seen it. So I actually went back in the archives and tried to look up where it was. I found it. It's season 5. So I think it was episode 3. Yeah, and it was puzzle 50 in season 5. So if you want to see me solve this exact puzzle for the first time, you should go back and see that. This one, I just basically remembered the answer, and it's night here. And I know that this because I struggled with it for so long because I missed that this was a fork of these two pieces. So here's the essence. If you don't want to go see it, I'll explain it again. I want to transport a knight here to attack the rook and attack a king. There are mates over here because notice these squares are controlled, right? So if I go check and they go like here, then I can go check and they go here and then I go here and it's a fork. I think there were other mates as well. Like if they tried to like come down the board too far or something, maybe I could have pawn checked, something like that. But this, in other words, this is their only escape square. So I'm going to go check and they're going to go up and then I'm going to go bang. And that's what I had missed a long time ago, but I'm not missing now. So basically the whole idea is we're going to force them to come out on this square where I can fork their rook and king. So let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, so if they went up, I'd rook check them into having to go to that square. So they'd go to that square right away, and then I just take the rook. So I remembered that one like instantly just from seeing that we've done it before. So that answers the question I had from episode 2. Am I getting any better? I guess I'm getting better at that exact puzzle because I can do it in 3 seconds now instead of like the 5 minutes it took me before. All right, this looks like an overworked bishop. It should be fairly simple, right? The idea here is that I have 2 runners, one here, one here. And so the bishop has to live on a diagonal that guards both the dark squares. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and they're going to have to stop me on this square somehow. I will push the pawn and take theirs. Now then it becomes a race. Can this king come and eat my pawn and queen theirs before I can queen mine? This king is in the square of this pawn. So we do have to be careful about that. So I can go king up. This feels forced simply because if black is winning, there's no other choice here. There's not really another way to do this. I guess the only other thing I can think of is pushing this pawn right now. So let's just say, what if I did that? All right, then this king will come here. I guess I'll go here and they'll have to stop us on one of the squares. I go here. They take it. I go here. Is that right? And then that's going to queen. So what if I push this pawn and the king goes back up again, and then I push the pawn again, and then they go right here. Then I go right here, and they can't stop me from coming up the board. Oh, man. Okay, I thought this was going to be super simple. I guess it isn't. If I go king up, then they are going to have to, let's go here, and then here, take, this way. Now it's outside the square. So push here, push here. And I know that I am closer to queening than they are. And I have the move here, here, queen, knight pawn. That's not a problem. We can win a knight pawn with a queen. So it does look like that wins. So what if here and then here and I push and they take and they go here. And now they're in the square of this pawn. So they're stopping it. Well, then I think I can just walk over and eat their pawn. They can't ever like stop me, right? What if they go here? I go here, they go here, I go here, they go here. I'll go here, they'll eat a pawn. I'll go here, and I think they've lost their pawn, right? Aha. So the idea, the defensive idea is this. Like that. So I guess I do have to push the other pawn. Now, to be fair, I would have thought, without calculating this, that both moves would be winning because they both need to be played, and I thought there would be a transposition. So I am thinking now that what we want to do is overwork the bishop and king. So we're going to ask the king to go both ways here. But here, and if that keeps the king outside of the square. The real issue is if I try to do this too fast, this king can enter the square. If you're unfamiliar with that concept, you draw a diagonal line to the back row, and that marks wherever it hits the back row is the file that the king has to be on to be in this box shape. That's why we call it the square of the pawn. So what we want to do is shrink the box so that it hits here, and now the king can't get in. So the bishop will be responsible for both of those. This king cannot outmuscle my king, and the bishop cannot do both jobs at the same time. So here's how you can. Here's how I like to do this when I'm playing actual endgames, practical endgames. I have two things that are a threat. White has two defenders. If the bishop decides to go this way and the king just in general decides to go this way, then the way I need to beat that king is by pushing the pawn right now so that it can't get in the square. How do I win? Well, this bishop will be defeated by this king. So as long as I push this pawn, that works. What if the king decides to guard this way and the bishop decides to guard this way? Well, I can actually use my own king to force the bishop to come either this direction or prevent the king from ever taking that pawn. So I do actually think it is this pawn move. And then the king will have to try to get in the square, and I will push it again. And then the bishop will have to stop it. And now I come up and threaten to queen this pawn. So I think it'll go here, 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 king, pawn, bishop, king. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I'm one move too slow. Okay, I don't have it yet. All right, taking a pause. All right, I think we just have to be a little finessed here. I think we're going to go pawn, king. It's better to just assume the white king will try to defend both. So we're just going to assume that it goes up the board. And then we're going to push the pawn. Bishop will be forced to block because anything else we're just going to queen or pawn. So this seems forced. Now here comes the difference. I thought originally I'd push the pawn, but then king in. And then if I go king up, it actually blockades the pawn. So that's a problem. So we're going to improve upon that. We're not going to push the pawn yet. We're going to play the king first. So it'll be this pawn, this pawn again, bishop, king up. Now the king can't come in. So that's the right order to play it. We'll go push, push, and queen. If the bishop ever takes either pawn, we push the other one. That seems to be the right answer. So I think we're ready to play this move. I'm not sure about it. It is a 2800 level puzzle, so it is a little bit of balance here. Let's try it again. Here, push, bishop. Because otherwise, if they move the king, we just push the pawn again. It's black's move. Black cannot play. I guess we go here. Check. Or not check, sorry. And then there's white's move. And I'm not sure what white is going to try. I guess maybe they try to go this way. But then I think we just do like the old switcheroo here. We push one of the two pawns. I'm not sure it matters at that stage which one we push. The bishop will capture it. We'll push the other pawn and queen. So I think we're ready to go. I've calculated this, I think, enough. Let's try it. We're correct. Okay, we said so far. Now I think we need to lock the king into position. Or, well, sorry, lock down the bishop, forcing the bishop to go to the, uh, what is that? The king side, I guess. Apparently, since we're black, that's the king side. Yes. Okay, now my mistake early in the calculation was pushing this pawn right away, but that can be stopped by the white king. And then this king is too late. So this is the improvement. I think we need to play this now at a time when the pawn controls this square. Because the king coming in this way doesn't do anything. The whole point of coming to this square here, which is apparently c2, is to control b1, not to like attack these pawns or anything. It's to control b1. So as long as they can't do that, we are winning. So I think we just go up the board, like we said. And then there's not really a good move for white. They can't move the bishop. This is the point, guys. This is the point. This is how you beat a bishop with passed pawns. You make it work on two different diagonals. See how the bishop has to maintain control of both of those dark squares? Otherwise, we push past it and queen. So that is forcing the king to guard one of the dark squares. In reality, the only thing actually happening here is this bishop is controlling the h2 square. It's not controlling the b2 square in reality. So white has to use the king to do that. Let's push up. Oh. Only one move wins? If I go here, it's check. I take a bishop and this pawn dies. So I have to push this pawn because it won't be check when the bishop takes it. And queen. Whew! That wasn't that hard. That just took a lot of calculation. I assume it's here, here, check, here, check, here, and then we don't have a mate, right? But do we have anything better than that? Looks like the king is going to run here, 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 here. So let's just try to prevent that from happening. Can we go check, king, check, king. I would love for this check to work. It just doesn't seem to work. By the way, we are at 52. You know what? Actually, I think we're going to pick this one up next time. We're at 52 puzzles, everybody. That is 6 correct in this episode. And I had a lot of fun solving them with you. We need 10 more. 10 more to break my record of 62. We are well into the 2800s. I'd love to get to 3000 as well. Anything over 50 is a successful run. So I am happy you were here for it. I'm happy I was here for it. And I hope to see you hit the like button, see you hit the subscribe button, and then see you for the next video.